We move! Hello friends, it is your boy again, Shmoke Joe Star, aka Shmoke Man Joe, and I'm back with another autistic video essay on my favorite character in the Sonic franchise. You guessed it, Shadow the Hedgehog, this guy right here, love him. And today we're going to talk about how this character has gone through the ringer as a character and why Sega chose to absolutely destroy his characterization. In 2001, we were introduced to the GOAT God legend himself, Shadow the Hedgehog, creation of Ivo Robotnik's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, to be the ultimate life form, and boy, was he. Look at all that edge, look at those spikes, the differences between him and Sonic, man. And on his introduction, you know, he's super stoic, standoffish, he only works with Robotnik to reach his own goal of what he thought Maria Robotnik, his friend, more or less sister, that was assassinated on board the Ark with everybody else after he escaped and was jettisoned to Earth. That event shaped who Shadow was in this game, which is why he wants his revenge for the people that were wrongly killed, and he would go to any means necessary to achieve that revenge, although it, spoiler alert, is maligned because Maria didn't want him to kill the people on Earth, she actually wanted him to protect it. But that's what we'll dive more into that in a second. The first meeting with Sonic is also something that really shapes his character, because for the first time in his life he meets somebody that looks like him and is fairly similar, but they don't know it yet. But he and Sonic, and I love this about Sonic Adventure 2, they're always juxtaposed to each other except for the final battle. When they finally know each other, like in every cutscene that they're in together, Shadow is almost always above Sonic, giving him, you know, that feel of superiority, which is what he's supposed to have. He's the ultimate life form. But he uses his chaos control, something that nobody had seen at this point in the series. It's sort of a flex to Sonic. It's, you know, it's him escaping, you know, doing his thing, trying to get his goal, but that's really a flex because Sonic had never been like outrun before. And that just goes to show, Jesus, what kind of character Shadow is in this game. Like, you know, he's super sure of himself, confident, because that's what he was designed to be, and he believes truly that he is the one to bring justice on the Earth for what they did to him and his family. By working with, and that's a phrase I use lightly, Dr. Robotnik and Rouge the Bat, he seeks to avenge his family as well as the legacy of Professor Gerald, because he, in retaliation for, you know, the government or gun killing his granddaughter, wanted to kill Earth. And that's what Shadow believes his purpose is, really. Like, he's dedicated to this cause 100%, and everybody is just a means to an end, because he never really had a friend outside of Maria and the professor. And it's shown by his interactions early on with the rest of the cast. It's like, hey, I did this thing. What are you doing? Help me out. And I believe that's really just like integral to the way that Shadow is portrayed to us in the beginning, as just this, you know, dutiful antagonist, because he's loyal to a fault. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, or it's what Sega is missing currently. His fault isn't that he's, you know, overly confident in his abilities or just antagonistic for the sake of being antagonistic. He wanted to see his friends' wishes through by any means necessary, even when people were telling him, hey, you know, you can't really do this, this is wrong. And he's like, nope, made a promise, gotta do it. And that's his biggest flaw, because even, and this isn't a spoiler at this point, this game's been out for 22 years, because even towards the end of the game, leading into Heroes, he is severely dedicated to his new friends. So much so to the point that he tragically not really sacrifices himself for the greater good at the end of the game in the final cutscene. And that is true character growth in such a short period of time, because this was Adventure 2 was supposed to be the last Sonic game. Like, that's why they went all out on the budget, the gameplay, and everything. It was supposed to be the last one because that was the Dreamcast last game, and they had to resolve it. And I think had that been the case, Shadow wouldn't have gotten, you know, his own game. He wouldn't have came back in Heroes in the future, but he was just too popular of a character to let go out like that before Sega went out with the development. And again, just reiterating the fact that Shadow is loyal to whatever he deems the right thing. And that's prevalent throughout this game, Heroes, and 06. And we will continue this adventure into Heroes.
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
In 2003, Sonic Team decided, you know what? Let's make niggas team up. And we were introduced to Sonic Heroes, a game that features teams of 3 going through the same exact stages 4 times. The peak of the series to some people, I don't get it, but that's not what we're here to talk about regardless. In this game, Shadow becomes a part of Team Dark with Rouge and Omega to try and stop Eggman from doing what he does. And in this game, surprise, surprise, Shadow has lost his memory. So he does not remember who he is, and the first thing he does after being awakened is save the person that awakened him. There is a good guy in there yet. But the key points that I want to talk about in this story is that despite Shadow being who he was, there's still remnants of the end of SA2 in his character in this game. Like, he teams up, albeit initially reluctantly, with Team Dark, but as the game goes on, you know, they come to respect each other. He starts to work with them and protect them, thus forming Team Dark as an official unit in the Sonic universe. Now, the biggest takeaways from here are that he awoke with no memory. Put a pin in that because it's going to come back up. He awoke with no memory, saved the first person that took him out of his containment without knowing who it was, goes on to continue to team up with them despite not having any memory, in hopes that they can collaborate and come together for the greater good, which is stopping Eggman, and he'll figure all that shit out later. Now, over the course of the game, you don't get too many reticent remarks from Shadow, meaning, you know, he doesn't know who he is, or he doesn't know if he's the real one or not, and that's played throughout the entirety of the game, because he sees, in this cutscene, he sees Robotnik Robot. He's like, damn, am I a fake? What am I? I don't know. The same thing that, you know, kind of happened in SA2 when he realized that he had misinterpreted Maria's wishes and then did a heel turn, which was, up until 06, was the big part of his character. It's like Shadow basically learning to be the character that he would ultimately become. And I like that from a narrative standpoint, because it gives Shadow room to mess up and grow and learn from his mistakes. Again, his flaw is not that he's an edgy antagonist, is that he's loyal to a fault. Even here, when they're doing good, it's like, hey, you saved me. I am your homie now. We are best friends. Let's team up and destroy Dr. Robotnik and stop all his bullshit. The fight between them and Team Sonic is just, you know, narrative fluff, really. It's like, hey, you gotta have a rival, and we have to be rivals at all times. Coming to the conclusion of the game, there are a lot of shadows in pods, leading to years of fan speculation. Well, the 2 to be exact, because we'll get into that in the next part. But years of fan speculation that Shadow was an android, because there's an army of them right here, inferior fake models that threw the fandom into chaos in 2003. My 12-year-old brain could not process the fact that, oh my God, Shadow's being duplicated, but is he the real one? And I'll explain it a little bit more once we get to the next game. But Omega is like, nah, I'll ride for my homie. I'm finna destroy all of these niggas. I love it. And here they are just having a moment. Again, just friendship. Let's go hang out. Let's go have an adventure. I love it.
Since that irritating echidna is here.
Some things never change, do they?
What are you saying?
In 2005, Sega decided Shadow was cool enough to get his own game. The problem was that Japan was on this weird Western push to make their games appeal to America as much as possible, and that is why this 3-foot hedgehog has a gun, rides motorcycles, and says cusses. Peak edge. This is the downturn. This is the first misstep in his characterization, and it came in his own game. But this game features cutscenes that are decision-based. There are multiple branching paths, so I'm not gonna bother you with every single cutscene. I'm just gonna play the best/worst ones and let you realize how goofy this game was. I will come back after those cutscenes with one final cutscene to explain the only canon part of this game and why people misconstrued his character because of the self-titled game. Please enjoy this ride that you're about to go on.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Why does that name haunt me? It's the only thing I can remember. And that gruesome image.
Stop! Don't move, or we'll shoot!
Stupid humans. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? This is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me.
So yeah, let's just say hypothetically you're a 14-year-old autistic child who just trudged through this goofy-ass game to hear
This is who I am!
a minimum of 10 times before the game is over. Like, that's provided that you do everything the right way the first time and don't, fuck up any of the paths, because you have to beat this game 10 times to get the true ending, where it is revealed to us that Shadow was the real one the entire time, thus averting all those character crises, those events where Shadow was unsure of himself, unsure if he was doing the right thing. Nope. You had to wait until the final true super special ending boss to hear this piece of information.
Can you hear me? This might be the last chance I have to speak to you, so what I said about having created you, it was all a lie. Everyone thought you died during that horrible incident, but I rescued you with one of my robots. You lost your memory, that's all. You really are the ultimate life form my grandfather created.
Oh yeah, and if you're worried about, getting all the Chaos Emeralds or doing all the extra missions, don't worry. There's nothing you need to do except for wait 540 seconds into the final boss to hear Eggman come over an intercom and be like, yeah, bro, I lied. You're the real one. I found you with one of my robots. It's you. All right, peace out. K. All right, man. And after Devil Doom's defeat, Shadow decides that he's gonna go his own way, make his own decisions, and he's not gonna be controlled by anyone or anything. Thus concluding 2005's Shadow the Hedgehog.
Goodbye forever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Picking up right after Shadow the Hedgehog, we have Sonic 06, everybody's favorite Sonic game. And in this game, Shadow's character is at its absolute peak. Like, he's resolved all his trauma with Gun, he's working with them and Rouge, and Omega occasionally whenever he decides he wants to show up. But in this game, Shadow goes through his own personal trials again without the edge. Thanks, Shadow. And we just see like an evolution of this character overall. Like he's working with his sworn enemies. Progress has been made as far as his mentality towards humanity and the other parts of the main cast goes. Working for the greater good again. Like that's just the penultimate goal of Shadow in this game, is finally understanding what it means to have real friends and to work for something other than your own personal desires or revenge. Shadow is himself in this game, and I think that's really what shines out. You know, he's not standoffish or, you know, rejecting friendship. He's just here to do what needs to be done, and his friends support him all along the way. As far as the plot goes, Shadow in Silver's timeline was deemed too powerful, and they sent Omega after him to basically subdue him, and they sealed him. That is a key point in this story, because Shadow travels back to the past before the current timeline, which is the one we experience through Sonic's eyes. He traveled back in time to try to fix everything that's going wrong with Iblis, Princess Elise, and Solaris. They try to fix everything going wrong in those timelines, across the 3 timelines. In Shadow's story, he meets Mephiles, the main antagonist of Sonic 06, and he reveals all this information to him to try to break his trust between his friends and get him to join his side. And that whole back and forth is paramount to Shadow's development over the course of the games that came before it and the final result, which is this game.
After the world was devastated by Iblis's flames, what do you think happened? A search for the guilty. Who did this, you may ask? Humanity wasn't just jealous of your power. They feared it. They used this incident as an excuse to hunt you down. Come with me, Shadow. Let us punish this foolish world of humanity.
And Shadow, realizing that he's trying to play to his former weaknesses, responds with this.
That's absurd. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it alone.
You forgive humanity this folly, then?
I determine my own destiny.
There's a reason that, like, I and a lot of other fans think that his natural story progression goes from Sonic Adventure 2 to Heroes and then straight to this game, because Shadow the Hedgehog muddied a lot of the waters between this game and Heroes. In this tragically wholesome scene playing behind me, Omega explains to Shadow that he was the one who sealed him in the future, or he helped defeat him, and then humanity sealed him because he was seen as a threat because of how strong he was. And this is another highlight of their friendship and not just them being a team in name. Rouge says to Shadow that even if the whole world is his enemy, she will stand beside him. And she tells him to remember it, and Shadow responds with, "I will." That is not a character that is revenge driven. That is not a character who is so cocksure of himself that he would abandon the people that care about him. This is the real Shadow the Hedgehog. He has been through trials with these people. He understands that they want to do the good thing. He's on a mission to do the things that he feels are the right things. That's why he told Mephiles he's in control of his own destiny. He's not doing this because someone in his past told him to. He's not doing this because the factors around him are influencing him to. He is making the conscious decision to remain friends with these people, even if the future that they are trying to prevent does play out. He knows that he has friends in Omega and Rouge, even after Omega told him that he was the one that defeated him and sealed him. Which is crazy. Omega's a top tier character in terms of power. That's nuts. But this is just what I mean. Like, Shadow does not treat these people like a nuisance like he does in later forms of media. He's like, you know, we're all on a unified goal. Everybody's on the same page, but I'm doing this because I want to. And that's honestly what makes him such a good character in the span of from Adventure 2 to 06. That is peak Shadow character right there. And I'm gonna let this next cutscene play because I don't even want to ruin it with commentary, but this is the culmination of everything that's been going on. Shadow is unwavering in his loyalty to his friends and his own purpose. Just watch this.
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
Just want to say I appreciate you sticking with me so far in this video. I know it's been about 20 odd minutes, but we are now entering what I like to call the honorable mention years. These are the years where Shadow and unfortunately the rest of the Sonic cast were relegated to either background appearances or no appearances at all in the core series of games. We have Shadow showing up in the comics, and I hesitate to even mention him there because he's basically Sonic but black. Like, man shows up anytime there's a threat. He's always ready and willing to participate. Like, that's covering like 16 years of comics, and I'm not being lazy. I'm just not gonna do that. But there are a couple of games that Shadow was in before his next major appearance, so I'm gonna just speed run through those. In 2008, we were blessed with the game Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood, and Shadow says these two lines. I'll let you pause to read, but basically Shadow saying we're going to go get my friend, Omega, because we won't let him rust. He calls him friend by word. Again, pause to read it if you want to read the full sentences, but that's the gist of it. 2009 gave us Sonic and the Black Knight, where Shadow was a playable character. He's essentially who he was in 06, just with a medieval twang to fit the style of this game. I can't really comment on the characterization because it's not too much different than who he already was, but again, play Sonic and the Black Knight, solid game. Hey, I bet you didn't know that Shadow was in Sonic Generations.
Do it, Sonic! Come on, Sonic! Smack him! Not you! You got this, Sonic.
And that's about all we got from Shadow in Sonic Generations. Him and the rest of the cast is just, hey man, you can do it, bro. That's it. And that's really the last time that we see Shadow in game until ha! Yeah, you fucking thought.
Check this out. A secret room.
Make way!
Yes, sir. We are now entering peak Edge. 2014 was the year that Sonic Boom got introduced as a spin-off or an alternative universe to our core series of games, and everybody's basically been recharacterized. Sonic's a lot more cynical. Tails is basically a bitch boy. Knuckles is the pure idiot instead of being a gullible friend. Amy has kind of dropped her obsession, and Shadow is Edge. Shadow is the edgiest character alive. Like, literally his sole purpose in this timeline, the Boom timeline and our current timeline, is to just be a dick to Sonic and friends at every cost. Like, letting everybody know how weak he is. Like, you're seeing this cutscene in the background, but I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it again and let you listen to this shit.
Not so fast, Sonic.
Shadow, what are you doing here?
Not a great time, Shadow. I'm a little busy saving the world.
Saving the world? You? Don't make me laugh. You're weak. And you know what makes you weak? Your loyalty to your pathetic friends. You're not going through that portal. I'm gonna show you just how weak you are.
Now, had this been like right after Adventure 2 or right after Heroes, I'd buy this characterization. But coming off the heels of Shadow's last core appearance being Generations, where he's like, yeah, man, you got this, Sonic. This is such a stark contrast to the Shadow that we've grown with. Like, man went from being misguided to lost to finding his purpose and befriending the core cast while also having, you know, his own identity as a character. Now, is Shadow this, you know, happy-go-lucky hero like Sonic is? Absolutely not. Like, I don't think that's ever supposed to be who he was. But the contrast of pure edge, I don't do anything for anyone but myself, I am the ultimate life form and everybody else is wrong at all times, is such a major downgrade, like just narratively and in universe, because in universe his former teammates are just, you know, people that he chooses to randomly socialize with should they be in the immediate area, and everybody else is just a nuisance. Like, this is not the Shadow that we've come to know and love. And granted, you know, the excuse of alternate universe is cool because, you know, you can kind of do things like that when this isn't considered the canon universe. But as we'll see in the next couple of minutes, we got another portrayal of Shadow, and that one is the current one, and it is the canon one.
Looks like you and your friends got the job done. Not bad.
I can't do this alone, even though I am strong.
So yeah, there's not too much to say about Forces. Like, I honestly forgot that this game existed because Mania is the 2017 game to me. But Shadow in this game is more akin to his old self. Like, he's working with Rouge to find Omega, see what the Doctor's planning, because episode Shadow takes place a month before the core game does. And he's not being a dick. You know, he's confident, but he's not cocky. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go help my friend. I don't need any backup. I'm me. And that's it. That's core. That's core Shadow right there. The only thing really of note in episode Shadow is the fact that he absolutely dog walked Infinite and set the game in motion. And it's just, look.
You destroyed my squad. I'll show you why they call me the ultimate mercenary. Take this! What?
Worthless. Don't show your pathetic face around me ever again.
But yeah, that about it for Forces and Shadow. Sent this man Infinite into a self-identity crisis death spiral and set the game in motion. That it. that it for Shadow. But now we get to talk about the current iteration and the one that personally I think did the most damage to his character. Of course, starting with the IDW comics. Oh man. At long last, we finally reached the fated IDW era, the Mandate era. Holy shit. The loss for characterization is on full display here, guys. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, just Shadow at this point has become nothing than like this barking, edgy pseudo antagonist towards the rest of the party, to the point where it's basically made Rouge the 5th member of Team Sonic right after Amy. And I just want to throw up some panels and talk about them, because that's really the best way that I can explain this. So here in this first example, we have Rouge and Amy, you know, on a vacation. They're traveling in the car, driving along the road. They see Shadow, not antagonizing him or anything. And Amy asks, "What are you doing here?" And Shadow, in current fashion, just, "Nothing that concerns you." Like, bro, for what, nigga? Like, you're not getting antagonized. They aren't trying to, like, start any bullshit. They literally just asked a simple ass question. And we come to find out that they're on their way to get Omega fixed, and Amy asks Shadow for his help. And this motherfucker says, "Not interested." Bro, they're trying to fix your friend, a friend that we've seen in this video at least twice, that you have gone out of your way to save and or repair, and now you have no interest in getting man's repaired? Okay, later on we come to see Shadow brooding like he does, like he's fucking Batman, just on top of a building overlooking the casino, well, not the casino, but the amusement park that they had gone to for their little trip. And this man just, God, just look at the panel, man. No sign of the doctor's work here. Just petty games and frivolous amusements. I guess that rumor about a bot trader here was false. Bro, I told y'all, this IDW Shadow is anti-fun. And I get why people said that they didn't like him. And, you know, me being the leader of the Shadow Defense Force, I had to go figure out why. And I totally understand it. Like, this man is just, there are some points in the comics that Shadow's just straight up fucking annoying, and there's no other way to put it, and I hate that because he's my favorite character. But this shit, petty games, frivolous amusements. Like, this nigga think he Goku Black, bro? What is this? What are we doing? Who the fuck is this nigga, bro? Like, upon finding and subsequently beating the robot dealer, Shadow gets his buddy back, and everybody's excited. It's like, yeah, man, cool. Like, Rouge's like, not the help I expected, but I'm not complaining. And Shadow's like, just can't take the fucking compliment. Just, I didn't do it for you. Bro, who is this? Who is this character? And then he tells her, it's like, check under that cloth. Oh, sorry. Check under that cloth. You may want to take care of what's underneath. And she's like, where are you going? To find a real challenge. Like, bro, this nigga is antagonistic. This man is violent. This is not who Shadow is. Shadow's normally just a reserved character who goes all out if he has to. He doesn't look for shit to beat up, but if he fights to the full potential. He's not going out beating niggas' asses just for the sake of the challenge. He's not Vegeta. That's not what he does. And in this panel, Rouge, being the voice of reason, is like, hey man, we got more stuff to do other than you beating the shit out of somebody. And Shadow just, in his fucking angsty teenager voice, just, don't tell me what to do. Bro, look at him. Look at his face. Look at how he's fucking snarling at Rouge. They were homies. They were best fucking friends. You saw the Heroes ending? They're just talking, just chatting it up. And now this man's talking to her like she's his mom and she just told him to get off the fucking Call of Duty and come eat. Why? Why would they do this? And here we have the most infamous panel of them all. What started this rabbit hole that I went down after I caught up on the IDW comics in 2021. The Metal Virus is an arc that took place during COVID, and it's basically Robotnik and the character Starline going around and turning people into metallic zombies, just to give you a little bit of context. Now, anybody that comes into contact with one of them turns into a robot. And they basically getting roboticized. For the older fans of Sonic, yeah, that's a word, nigga. I ain't said that shit unironically in years. But basically, Sonic is infected, and the only way to stave it off is to run, and that's what he does. That's what he's doing for the majority of this arc, so he doesn't get other people infected. You can once you're infected, you can touch the other robots because it doesn't matter at that point. But basically, he's telling Shadow, It's like he pulls up, Shadow pulls up, is like, bro, what are you doing? And they make a little banter, and that's what this argument is. But essentially, Sonic tells Shadow, hey, if you come into contact with them, don't fight. Because if you touch them, even with you being the ultimate life form, this virus does not care about that. It will infect you. And he tells him almost verbatim, yo, I'm dealing with it too. I'm infected. See? And this man says that doesn't change what happens. It's what you deserve. What a stark raving asshole, bro. And Sonic runs off and he tells him, I'm gonna go take care of my infection. Thanks for bringing the truck. Don't let the Zombots touch you. I know. If that happens, you better run. And we got this banger line here. Cowards run. I win. Bro. Oh my god, like Shadow, this is overconfident Shadow, and I hate this. I hate overconfident Shadow so much because it's not coming from a place of, you know, sincerity. Like, there's a difference between confident and cocky. Confident is being sure of yourself. Cocky is being full of yourself. Shadow is full of himself now, and I hate it. And what's worse, the nigga gets infected because Sonic told him, yo, if you see him, just run. Don't fight him. This bitch said, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna fight him and I'm gonna win. And got his stupid ass infected. And that's not a mistake that calculating 06 Shadow, Heroes Shadow, Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow would have made. Like, this man's way too meticulous when it comes to engaging or disengaging with enemies to do that. Even in 06, when Mans is like, yeah, you know what, I'm sure I can do this. Let's Chaos Control back to the past. Nick's extremely careful to not fuck anything up as to not fuck up the future. And this Shadow's basically like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm a box anyway. And got his stupid ass packed up, turned into a Zombot, bro. I hate it here. I absolutely hate it here. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this look at my favorite characters, storied history, and character progression, regression, however you want to look at it. Nothing's gonna make Shadow not be my favorite character. It's just, in my opinion, the way his characterization has gone recently is just completely regressive from what the character started out as. And I think that's, you know, partly in due to Sega's mandates on how the character should be written, as well as them not really having a focus for anybody not named Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, or Rouge. Like, a lot of them are just like background characters to push the plot forward, or there to antagonize Sonic because they're the only ones that are really on his level. And I would just like to see a more, you know, just reserved Shadow. I don't know if I would call it the good or bad Shadows. Just in my opinion, the characterization as of late has not been that great, especially considering his arc that he went through. Arc, Space Colony. But appreciate y'all sticking through the whole video, man. I know this is a little bit longer style video. Hadn't done one of these in a minute. But all my links will be in the description, socials, add me, do a little voice acting on the side. So if you're a creator, if you know a creator that wants their characters voiced, OCs, Sonic content creators, shoot me a link on the Twitter. Twitter will be in the description with all my other socials. I appreciate all of you guys. My year-end goal is 500 subs. That's the year-end goal. We're at 428 now, so go ahead and hit that sub button so you don't miss any of my future content. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.